There was a time in the NFL when throwing for 4,000 yards in a season made headlines. Now, well, it hardly guarantees you a parking spot. Now, that's not to fully downplay it, as hitting 4K through the air still takes arm talent, durability, and a whole lot of confidence from your offensive coordinator. But in today's pass-heavy league, it's not if your QB can hit that number, it's how he does it, and whether it actually translates into wins. Some of these guys racked up stats chasing deficits, others aired it out en route to MVPs, deep playoff runs, and maybe even a ring. A few only flirted with greatness, while others lived there. So, how about we jump into the best of the best, the top 15 quarterbacks to ever post a 4,000-yard season. Number 15, Carson Palmer, Cincinnati Bengals and Arizona Cardinals. Carson Palmer's story is one of quiet reinvention. He came into the league as the number 1 pick in 2003 with a golden arm and a Heisman pedigree. And for a moment, he looked like the savior of the Cincinnati Bengals. In 2005, he threw for 32 touchdowns and over 3,800 yards while leading Cincy to their first division title in 15 years. And just as he was peaking, the wildcard disaster struck. Palmer's knee shredded on his first playoff pass, courtesy of Kimo van Olhoffen. That injury derailed his trajectory in catastrophic fashion, and it took him years to reinvent himself. After a rocky stint in Oakland, most figured that he was toast. But he found a new home in Arizona, where he got his second wind. In 2015, at 36 years old, he threw for a career-high 4,671 yards and led the Cardinals to a 13-3 record and the NFC Championship game, which was accomplishment enough to get him on this list. Number 14, Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons. You might not have noticed, but Matt Ryan was quietly one of the most consistent quarterbacks of his generation. The numbers don't scream elite, but they absolutely whisper, don't take this guy for granted. From 2011 to 2016, Ryan stacked 6 straight seasons of at least 4,000 yards. And then came 2016, his masterpiece. Nearly 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, just 7 picks, and a shiny MVP trophy. He was the brain behind Kyle Shanahan's juggernaut offense and had Atlanta looking like a buzzsaw on the way to Super Bowl 51. Until, well, 28-3 happened. Not to mention, he did all of this for a franchise that was left in complete disrepair by its previous QB1, Michael Vick, when he was chased out of the league for his involvement in the Bad News Kennel scandal. Aside from Julio Jones, he turned a number of average receivers into household names, survived constant O-line turnover, and never once complained. Ryan was the steady hand in a chaotic NFC South storm. And even if he never made it back to the big game, the respect that he earned should never fade. Number 13, Andrew Luck, Indianapolis Colts. Andrew Luck didn't just walk into Indianapolis. No, he stormed in and his ascent was meteoric. The guy posted one of the best rookie seasons to date, recording over 4,300 yards in year 1 and a staggering 4,761 in 2014, second most in Colts history. Not too bad for a guy that, yes, was drafted number 1 overall in 2012, but with the astronomical pressure of replacing a legend like Peyton Manning, it's pretty dang impressive. So there he was. He revived post-Manning Indianapolis. But then came the injuries. The lacerated kidney, the torn labrum, the endless hits. It just wore him down. And just like that, at 29, he shocked the NFL and walked away. No farewell tour, no warning. Just poof. Fans booed him off the field in his final preseason game. Not out of hate, but out of heartbreak. Luck was supposed to be the bridge from Manning to another decade of dominance, but instead, he became one of the greatest what-ifs in modern NFL history. Number 12, Philip Rivers, San Diego Chargers. You want a quarterback who played every single game with the intensity of a man trying to out-talk Father Time himself? That was Philip Rivers. No flash, no fuss, just fire and yards. He threw for over 4,000 yards in 6 separate seasons, including back-to-back 4,700-yard campaigns in 2010 and 2011. And mind you, this wasn't some plug-and-play system where everything was just perfect. Oh no. Rivers did this while regularly operating with makeshift offensive lines and a constantly rotating cast of receivers. Rivers was electric. Old school footwork, funky throwing motion, but ice-cold precision and absolute command of the field. Did he ever get that Super Bowl ring? No, but don't let that fool you. Philip Rivers was the beating heart for the Chargers for over a decade, keeping them relevant, dangerous, and always entertaining. Number 11, Warren Moon, Houston Oilers / Minnesota Vikings. In the early 90s, an era still dominated by bruising run games, Moon casually dropped back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons. And he did all of that despite NFL scouts doubting him to the point that he was forced to make his name in the CFL first, where he won 5 straight Grey Cups in order to get a chance in the NFL. And he didn't stop at the 2 straight seasons. He would go on to crack that mark 4 times in total, doing it against defenses that were allowed to mug receivers at the line. His command of that legendary run-and-shoot offense turned Houston into a futuristic force. Wide sets, quick reads, and vertical shots before that was even a thing. And don't overlook the cultural weight of his career either, as Moon became the first black quarterback inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A trailblazer who didn't just play the position, he redefined who could play it. Number 10, Eli Manning, New York Giants. Eli was no stat stuffer, and yet he produced 4 distinct 4K seasons, something that a lot of people forget. In part because of the comparison fallacy and the level that Peyton produced at, but also because he was the ultimate paradox. A quarterback who looked like he just rolled out of bed, only then to roll right into football immortality. No, the man was not flashy. No, he didn't light up fantasy scoreboards, but he was gutsy and steady when the stakes were highest. Manning was an unshakable pulse for that team throughout the bulk of his career, including his best season, when he produced a jaw-dropping 4,933 yards in 2011, which just so happened to be the same year that he broke Bill Belichick's brain and heart for the second time in Super Bowl 46. Number 9, Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers. If you ever wondered what a quarterback built in a steel mill would look like, Ben Roethlisberger would be the prototype. Standing at 6'5", built like a linebacker and tough as the city he made his name in, Big Ben didn't just play quarterback, he brought a brawler's mentality to the position. But that didn't stop him from putting up some good counting numbers too. From 2006 to 2021, he piled up 6 different 4,000-yard seasons, including a massive 5,129 total in 2018, ramping up production as the league pivoted to more pass-heavy offenses. 2 Super Bowl wins, one of the most iconic rookie campaigns ever, and a Rolodex of jaw-dropping deep ball highlights that aged like wine. Roethlisberger was a franchise cornerstone forged in toughness. He always came out and at times went down swinging. Number 8, Curt Warner, St. Louis Rams and Arizona Cardinals. 3 4,000-plus yard passing seasons in 3 different decades. Curt Warner had one of the craziest careers out there, one that featured 2 completely different Cinderella stories. After going undrafted, forced to bag groceries and play in NFL Europe where he was told that he'd never make it, he turned it all around, earning a spot with the Rams where he notched 4,353 yards and an MVP in his first full season in the NFL. And a year later, 4,830 yards and a Super Bowl title with the greatest show on turf. Warner didn't just defy the odds, he ran circles around him. Then gave us one of the greatest second acts in sports history after a couple of down years with the Rams where he lost his job to Mark Bulger, and an ill-fated stint with the Giants. At age 37, Warner threw for over 4,500 yards combined in the 2008 regular season and playoffs, dragging the Cardinals, a franchise allergic to relevance, to the Super Bowl. Yeah, say no more. Number 7, Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers. During his prime, Aaron Rodgers was precision personified. 10 4,000-yard seasons, and heck, maybe still counting. Rodgers plays chess in the pocket, rarely throws interceptions, and somehow balances pinpoint throws with Houdini-level escapes. The kind of QB that makes coaches smile and defenses wince. At his best, Rodgers is the textbook definition of flair and function all in one package. Number 6, Brett Favre, Green Bay Packers / Minnesota Vikings. Favre may not have defined dependability, but he did his best to embody durability, and he parlayed that into 6 4,000-plus yard seasons, even a 4,202-yard campaign at age 40 in Minnesota, really solidifying that his soul was made for Sundays. His gunslinger bravado, cannon arm, and iron will drove unforgettable moments, from game-winning drives to career-defining comebacks. Favre was chaos and consistency all rolled into one. And while his post-career arc hasn't been the greatest, the league was an exciting place with him as the face of it. Number 5, Dan Marino, Miami Dolphins. Marino was football's first glimpse into the future of passing. He smashed the 5,000-yard barrier in 1984, 5,084 yards, earning MVP and rewiring the blueprint for the position. A pioneer of high-volume aerial offenses, he racked up 6 total 4,000-yard seasons when the rules weren't tailor-made for passing. Marino didn't win a Super Bowl, but he did fundamentally change how quarterback is played and how the game passed them the ball. Number 4, Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints. Simply put, Brees was statistical perfection. 11 straight 4,000-plus yard years, 5 5,000-yard seasons mixed in, and consistent league-leading efficiency. He resurrected a franchise and a city, bringing precision, resilience, and humility to the peak of his game. His regular season output was unmatched, sanctified by consistency and eye-popping volume. And the cherry on top was the Super Bowl that he delivered following the devastating tragedy of Hurricane Katrina. Number 3, Peyton Manning, Indianapolis Colts / Denver Broncos. Manning's name is synonymous with dominance at the quarterback position. 14 4,000-yard seasons. 14! Tied only with Tom Brady for most in history. And he did it in very unique fashion, as he was the NFL's first guy to really bring the playbook to the field with his pre-snap antics and ability to dissect defenses at will. 5 MVPs, a 5,477-yard season, and 2 rings across nearly 20 years. Manning's excellence wasn't just a phase, it was sustained across his entire career. The man didn't just play quarterback, he embodied how football was supposed to be played with his professionalism, leadership, and of course, production. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes doesn't just throw for 4,000 yards in a season. For him, well, he just makes it look like the baseline. Once Mahomes got to the NFL, he's raised the level for what it means to be a top player in the game. Since taking over as the starter in 2018, he's already notched 6 4,000-yard seasons and thrown for over 5,000 twice. His debut starter season, over 5,000 yards and 50 TDs, and he made it feel like it was routine stuff. He averaged nearly 4,700 yards per year, combining historic efficiency with improv wizardry, sidearms, no-look bombs, off-platform miracles. 3 Super Bowls before the age of 30. He is the modern QB evolution. As of 2024, Mahomes has already surpassed 4,000 passing yards in 6 of 7 seasons. And if you're watching those games, he could be putting up way more counting numbers if that was his prerogative. But the man's just out there trying to win games. Yeah, we're not just witnessing a peak, we're watching a legend develop in real time. A player who makes 4,000 yards feel routine. Because for him, it just kinda is. Number 1, Tom Brady, New England Patriots / Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, for Tom Brady, his 4K seasons were just the overture when it came to his greatness. Looking back on it, it's honestly crazy just how his career was the stuff of legends. He balanced elite production with situational dominance as one of the most clutch players to ever do it. Brady didn't just pile up yards, he turned them into wins, playoff runs, and rings. He stayed atop the game across eras, defenses, coaches, and cast changes. Look, Brady just did everything. 14 4K seasons, 3 decades of dominance, 9 Super Bowl appearances, and 0 fear. He took regular season excellence and fused it with postseason perfection. Statistically, emotionally, culturally, Mahomes is doing his best to catch up. But for now, Brady is still in the lead for the greatest 4,000-yard quarterback to ever grace an NFL field. But hey, which 4,000-yard NFL quarterback do you think was the best to ever do it? What do you think we got right here? What do you think we got wrong? Is there anything that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.